Hello, my name is Bradley Bennett, and for this concept design, I'm focusing on how design thinking can be used as a leadership approach to improve employee experience while strengthening operational effectiveness. Throughout this course, we've talked a lot about critical thinking, empathy, and tackling complex leadership challenges. This presentation pulls all of that together and shows how I would approach a real leadership problem using design thinking principles, not as a one time fix, but as an ongoing way of leading. The leadership challenge I'm addressing is one I've experienced directly in complex operational environments. Teams are operating under high complexity with large workloads and competing demands. At the same time, many of the processes and documentation they rely on are outdated or unclear. On top of that, leaders often have limited autonomy when it comes to rewards or advancement, while still feeling pressure from both employees and customers. When you put all of this together, it creates a situation where stress builds on all sides, and a traditional top down problem solving just doesn't work well. This challenge fits the definition of a wicked problem that we've discussed in this class. There isn't a single root cause. Multiple stakeholders are impacted, including employees, leaders, and customers. Any solution involves trade offs rather than perfect answers, and improvements in one area can easily create tension in another. Because of that, this problem can't be solved with a simple policy change or a quick fix. It requires a more thoughtful, iterative approach. This is where empathy becomes critical. Employees often feel overwhelmed and undervalued. Leaders feel constrained and stuck in reactive modes instead of proactive ones. Customers experience inconsistency that comes from turnover and stress. One key insight I've taken from this course is that resistance usually isn't apathy. It's often fear, overload, or lack of clarity. Understanding these perspectives helps shift the mindset from blaming individuals to addressing the system around them. From that empathy work, several key insights emerged. First, clarity matters more than speed. Moving fast without shared understanding usually creates more confusion. Second, people resist change when they don't feel supported or included in the process. Third, small process improvements can significantly reduce stress, even if they seem minor at first. And finally, psychological safety enables better ideas and stronger buy in. When people feel safe to speak up, the quality of thinking improves. Based on those insights, my overall strategy focuses on creating shared understanding before jumping to solutions. I would make work and pain points visible using simple visual tools so everyone can see the same problem space. Employees would be actively involved in shaping improvements rather than having changes imposed on them. The focus would be on small, meaningful changes, and I would intentionally iterate instead of forcing one big solution all at once. This aligns closely with the design thinking approach we've studied throughout the course. In practice, this approach would follow a structured but flexible process. First, I would facilitate structured conversations to surface real issues and perspectives. Second, I would use visual tools, such as maps, frameworks, or insight statements, to make thinking visible. Third, I'd encourage idea quantity over perfection, reinforcing that early ideas are meant to be explored, not judged. Next, small changes would be tested before scaling, allowing teams to learn without risk. Finally, learning would be documented and adapted over time, reinforcing continuous improvement rather than one time fixes. This approach matters because it creates tangible benefits across the organization. It helps reduce burnout by addressing stress at the system level. It builds trust by involving people in decisions that affect their work. It improves retention and customer experience by increasing consistency and engagement. And ultimately, it strengthens leadership credibility by showing intentional, thoughtful problem solving instead of reactive decision making. One of the biggest leadership lessons I've taken from this course is that leadership isn't about having all the answers. It's about creating the conditions for better thinking, both individually and collectively. Design thinking helps leaders act with intention, slow down when needed, and engage people in meaningful problem solving. In that way, leadership becomes less about control and more about enabling insight, learning, and progress. In closing, this concept design reflects how I would approach a real leadership challenge using the tools and mindset we've explored in this class. By grounding leadership in apathy, clarity, and iteration, design thinking becomes a practical way to navigate complex problems and lead more effectively. Thank you.